Ako po si Brian Poe at ito ang Common Ground. Tuwing may krimen sa mga headline na kinasasangkutan ng isang menor de edad, paulit-ulit ang tanong na dapat bang ibaba ang age of criminal liability. Para sa ilan, hindi patas ang problema, kundi ang implementasyon nito. Kapag ibinaba ang age of criminal liability, magiging mas ligtas ba ang ating komunidad? Paano ba napapanagot ang isang batang dumabag sa batas? Pag-uusapan natin ang age of criminal liability. Kasama natin ngayon si Congressman Shell Jokno. Isa siyang abogado, human rights advocate, former chairman ng Free Legal Assistance Group or FLAG, Dean Emeritus ng De La Salle University College of Law, at ngayon ay kinatawan ng Akbayan Party List sa House of Representatives. For decades, he's worked on issues involving justice, constitutional law, and the protection of children's rights. We also have with us today Ms. Bing Diaz, officer in charge of the Child Rights Center at the Commission on Human Rights. She's been working with the CHR for 9 years. Congressman Shell, Ms. Bing, thank you for being with us here on Common Ground.
Thank you for having us, Brian.
Just to warm us up a bit, have you guys ever worked together on any
Yeah.
cases?
I'm sure Bing will remember.
We've been together with anti-death penal campaign before the passage of the suspension. 1998 pa po yun ako. Medyo matagal.
1998 pa.
Kami magkilala.
Wow, that's when my sister was born.
But we're still young then.
Okay.
Until now.
Oh, you're still young until now. Lalo na si Kong Shell, yung following mo. Ang daming mga kabataan, no? So if we can talk a little bit about our background here. Both of you have been involved in children's rights for quite some time. Shell, when did you start Kong?
Started my journey as a human rights lawyer way back in 1989. And since that time, I think I've spent most of my professional career really in the field of human rights. So that covers everything from children's rights to students' rights and the rights of prisoners and many, many other fields that are, under that dimension. But see, Bing and I have been involved in a number of advocacies. Primarily, the one that comes to mind really is the anti-death penalty movement.
Is there a particular case, Ms. Bing, that you personally handled in children's rights that really stuck with you through the years?
Yeah. Actually, my first job is with Ateneo de Manila,
Talaga?
Office for Social Concern. And before, one of my tasks is to coordinate or facilitate the exposure immersion program of Ateneans. Meron kasing social apostolate ang Society of Jesus sa New Bilibid Prisons. Kaya nung nag-join ako ng Philippine Jesuit Prison Service after Ateneo, and I saw their young people as young as 13 nasa New Bilibid Prisons.
Nakahalo.
Di ba, kung malalay nyo, merong mga 36 minors na nasentensya ng
Yes.
capital punishment. Isa yun yung sa mga pinagtrabaho namin nila Kong before ng ng flag, no? So merong anti-flag di ba, free death penalty task force. So nandun yung Philippine Jesuit Prison Service and of course sila Kong yung namin partners namin. So yun so until now sinasabi ko nga po na parang ang hirap maulit yung prior to 2006 na as young as 13 nasa New Bilibid Prison. So parang before kala ko yung isa talagang natandaan ko, kala ko naiwan yung bata na may bata na naiwan sa New Bilibid Prison. Somebody told me, hindi sister, tawag po na, hindi sister, sabi, taga diyan siya. Nandun siya sa gate, akala ko naiwan ng parents niya,
Aha.
naiwan siya dun, yung pala nandun sila. And more than 285 CICL ang nandun prior to the passage of 2006. And as young as 13, naparusahan ng ng death penalty. Yun yung na-facilitate nila kung yung flag noon, yung pag-release nung mga bata na naparusahan ng capital punishment.
So, but in general, ano yung pinakamadalas na misconception na naririnig mo about lowering the age of criminal liability?
Ay, yung walang accountability
Yung mga
yung
bata?
mga bata.
Ah,
Yun yung sinasabi namin na hindi. Magta-try pa rin sila, mag-undergo pa rin sila ng justice system, pero hindi siya yung punitive criminal justice system, kung hindi sa isang juvenile justice system na kumikilala sa kanilang vulnerability, dun sa kanilang sitwasyon, dun sa pagkabata nila. Pero in terms of accountability, di ba, kung wala, andun pa rin civil liability. At actually, yung sinasabi po nila ngayon kung Brian, na bahay pag-asa naman sila pupunta. Nakakita na ba sila ng bahay pag-asa? Still, parang deprived of liberty pa rin yung mga bata. Kasi hindi naman sila pwedeng umalis doon habang nag-undergo ng diversion program. Andun pa rin sila. Ang marami pa rin silang hindi na experience, na i-enjoy as bata.
Kung Shell, para sa mga biktima, for example, itong mga biktima ng Tacloban shooting, or even on a more community level, yung mga victims ng snatching or other crimes na involving children, no? Parang kahit sabihin natin na there is punishment, no? Parang feeling ng mga ibang tao, wala. Parang the children aren't being punished or held accountable. Uh, how do we address this? How do we make people feel that there is accountability?
Tama actually si Bing eh. Yan ang akala ng marami. Na porket ikaw ay minor, na you're below the age of criminal responsibility, wala ka ng pananagutan. Pero actually, ang totoo, meron. Ang pagkakaiba lang ay syempre, you treat younger people, I think you have to treat them in a way that is different from adults. Because pag pinagsama natin sila sa mga adults sa loob ng kulungan, ay halos sigurado na ganun rin ang magiging development nila. And I think that is where a lot of people miss the point that yung isang malaking dahilan kung bakit iba ang pagkatrato ng batas sa mga tinatawag natin na juveniles or young people is because we want to make sure that they will have a life to look forward to. And if we mix them up, for example, with older people inside the jails, definitely they will be influenced by them and they will not go through the right path. Kaya ang tingin talaga ng batas ay kailangan may intervention, rehabilitation, education, and other programs that will bring them back to the community. Kasi yung isa rin, I think nakita pa ni Bing ito eh. Yung isang malaking problema ng mga kabataan natin who we call children in conflict with the law is I think they feel very much isolated from society. They don't feel that they are part of society. And therefore, okay lang sa kanila na gumawa ng masama dahil hindi nila nararamdaman yung pag-aruga din ng ating lipunan. And that's one area where we really must move forward and push this, I think.
May mga nagsasabi na kung hindi natin pwede i-punish, no, yung mga bata, dapat yung mga magulang. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely, meron din, the law already provides for certain mechanisms to make sure that our parents really take care of their children.
course.
But meron pa rin mga gaps. Ito ngang nangyari sa Tacloban, I think that shows that kailangan din natin na balikan yung ating gun laws to make sure that those who are responsible adults who own guns, na wala silang gagawin na negligence para naman umabot sa kamay ng mga bata yung mga baril. So there's still some measures that we can take to ensure that.
Pero Kong, are there any numbers that actually prove that lowering the age of criminal liability solves crime?
Ako, para sa akin, and I've been doing this, been doing human rights cases for so long. For me, it's a stopgap measure that really will not address or provide a long-term solution to the problem. Kung titingnan kasi natin, yung pinaka-problema natin pagdating sa juvenile justice, sa aking pananaw,
Apo.
ay kulang na kulang yung pagpapatupad. We don't provide the right budget, the right resources, and even the right people and enough trained personnel to make sure that children in conflict with the law are treated properly and are given the rehabilitation that they really need. Kung may problema, sa tingin ko yun ang problema. So kahit ibaba natin yung age of criminal responsibility, I don't think it will make a difference. What we need to do is to strengthen our justice system.
On that note of strengthening the justice system, ma'am, you've been working specifically for children's rights for 9 years now. Have you seen any improvement in the justice system in dealing with these children in conflict with the law?
Yeah. Actually, hindi lang 9 years yung involvement ko sa child rights, no?
Talaga
I
po?
was the coordinator of the Juvenile Justice Network, the one who worked for the passage
Before
of
that
the
pa?
yeah.
Opo.
I was with the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council dun sa pagsimula pa lang ng batas. Siguro yun before the development, no?
Opo.
Kasi kung baka pwede rin natin tignan yung profile ng mga children in conflict with the law. As of today,
Opo.
yung age bracket is between 15 to 17. So kahit babaan mo yung karamihan, more than 80% ng CICL ngayon ay 15 to 17. So kahit na gawin mo pa siyang 9 or 10, hindi pa rin siya, hindi magbabago yung in terms of numbers. Pangalawa ay yun sabi nga ni Kong Chel, no, na in terms of mga implementation gaps. Halimbawa yung Commission on Human Rights, we've been doing the monitoring, no, since 2006 kasi nakalagay nga doon sa law na kami yung magmo-monitor ng state ng mga bahay pag-asa. At kung mapapansin rin natin, because of the law, no, bumaba rin yung recidivism. So parang 85% hindi na nag-uulit, no? So ibig sabihin, kung mabibigyan lang po sila ng proper intervention, no, ay may talaga, hindi umuobra yung batas. So yun yung mga ilang sigurong indicators na
No. Sorry to cut you off, but that 85% reform is actually a very interesting number. Do you see the same numbers with adults, or is this unique to juveniles?
Hindi ko alam yung no, pero yung I think 5 years ago pa yung statistics na to, no, yung
Opo.
recidivism ay
Opo.
hindi mababa. Saka kung titignan mo rin yung volume ng crime, ng
Opo.
total volume ng crime dito sa Pilipinas, di ba kung less than 2% lang ang children. So, kaya lang dahil bata sila, so at saka very nga naman, no, parang nakakagulat, makita mo yung bata na may dalang armas, so ganyan, tatanungin mo, bakit naging ganon yung mga bata ngayon? So, pag binabalikan ko talaga yung yung RA 9344, 'di ba, Kong, ito yun isa mga batas ng pinaka-comprehensive. Kasi from prevention to rehabilitation. At kung makikita niyo po doon, Kong Brian, nakalista doon yung mga specific roles ng bawat subsector, bawat sectors, including media, education system, andun lahat po. So ibig sabihin, kung nandun yung yung legal framework, baka tignan natin kung bakit hindi umaandar yung yung framework na to. Baka may kulang budget man. Unfortunately, as of today, parang kasi amended na yung RA 9344 ng RA 10630. Di ba nakalagay doon yung bahay pag-asa. The primary responsibility of the local government to establish bahay pag-asa. Of the 82 provinces, 30 pa lang ang merong bahay pag-asa. After since 2013 yung mandatory law. So ilang years na. Tapos mas mataas po yung rate ng mga cities. Parang 85% of the cities meron ng bahay pag-asa. Pero we're saying nga na hindi bahay pag-asa yung pinaka highlights or ng law na ito, kung hindi yung recognition na ang juvenile delinquency at youth offending ay preventive. Pwede mo siyang ma-prevent kung merong comprehensive juvenile intervention program na i-implement from barangay to the national level. Yung pa ho yung wala tayo.
Okay, well, we have actually people who have commented on posts before. Isa sa mga comments nila is, hindi napaparusahan ang mga batang wala pang 15 years old. Totoo ba yan? I mean, what happens kung 13 or 14 years old po sila tapos they commit a crime?
Napaparusahan din sila, but it is through what we call intervention programs that include counseling, rehabilitation, education, even and also very important community-based interventions that help the child become a member, remember that they are part of a bigger community. And the reason for that is because pagka ang ginawa natin sa mga bata ay ganun din sa ginagawa natin sa mga adults who commit crimes na mas punitive talaga siya, then definitely they will have very little chances of becoming better citizens and becoming more productive in our country. Kaya nga kaya nga ang trato natin sa kanila ay bata dahil they have so much more to live for if they're given the right environment. And that's one of the main purposes of the whole framework, is to provide them with the environment where they will go away from that kind of conduct and really help themselves, their families, and their communities.
Kong, you mentioned earlier na kulang yung personnel behind it. Definitely kulang yung training ng mga tao when dealing with children in conflict with the law. Is there anything that we're doing to improve our justice system? I believe we were talking earlier about a bill you filed.
Yes, Akbayan filed a bill which I'm spearheading, which we call it the Justice Commission Bill. Para siyang EDCOM, di ba, dahil nakita natin yung krisis sa edukasyon, the Congress passed the EDCOM 1 and then EDCOM 2. Ang nakikita din namin na merong ganun din pangangailangan pagdating sa hustisya. So we hope that we can get this bill through Congress so that we can create a Justice Commission that will look at the systemic problems. Kasama na doon yung mga problems natin with children in conflict with the law. Yung issue ng kulang ng hindi lang bahay pag-asa, pati na rin yung mga dapat na nasa from barangay level to national level that will help our children. We've also filed a bill, I call it the Magna Carta for out-of-school youth. Kasi doon din ang isang malaking problema natin. I think umaabot sa around 7 to 8 million of our children are out of school. And that really contributes to the problem of children in conflict with the law. Maliban doon, syempre, yung mga kailangan natin palakasin sa ating educational system. So we also have several bills for that.
But part of justice reform isn't just the penalties that are put in place or the manpower we have, but also reform, no? So I assume that under this justice committee that we would, not committee, commission, we'd also be looking at policies for reform.
Yes.
So, is there anything in particular that you feel should be reformed for children in conflict with the law?
Well, definitely, we need to revisit how well the Republic Act 9344 has been implemented. Not just yung provisions sa Bahay Pag-asa, pero lahat yung kabuuan niya. Kasi it's one of the most progressive laws actually for children that we have. Yun lang, hindi gaanong naintindihan ng marami. And that's very sad because talagang pinaghirapan yan ng mga grupo at pati ng mga mababatas natin.
Miss Bing, gaano kahalaga ang role ng mga parents, mga magulang sa development ng mga bata, especially itong mga kids in conflict with the law? Do they really have a big role to play in this, or is it just the decision of these young adolescents?
Actually, yan yung tuwing may congressional hearings
Opo.
ngayon, no? Yun isa na ina-advocate ng Commission on Human Rights and the Child Rights Network, yung passage ng Magna Carta of Children. And hopefully ay maging co-author po kayo nito. Kasi yung yung mga ibang gaps pa dun sa mga existing laws kasi after RA 9344, marami na rin mga bago pang batas na yung recognizing yung vulnerability, tsaka iba na yung environment. So we have the anti-USAID law,
Yes.
RA 11930, and then we have the anti-child marriage, no, RA 11596, and then now we're lobbying for the passage of the Magna Carta, wherein parang CHR sana will be designated sa ombudsman for children. So parang it's an additional child protection mechanism sana yung and the creation of the Commission on Children, yung pag-transfer ng Council for the Welfare of Children. So back to the parental authority, no, lagi talaga namin to pinag-uusapan sa congressional hearings. So nire-recognize naman yung yung na primary pa rin ang may responsibilidad sa child rearing ay yung mga magulang. Pero yung sinasabi ko nga po sa mga previous na interviews ko na yung realidad ngayon na dahil iba na yung environment, may cyberspace, may digital environment, hindi na lang yung magulang nagpapalaki ng mga bata. 'Di ba? So parang ang lawak na, no. So yes, primary pa rin ang parents, pero yung dapat tulungan yung mga magulang, tulungan ng state, ng government, no, kasi sila naman yung pagdating sa human rights, di ba, kung sila naman po yung primary duty state, no, yung primary duty bearer pagdating sa human rights. So, sana ganun tignan na yung tinanong pa nga sa akin every now and then, kulong kaya yung mga magulang. So it's
Yes.
talaga ang sinasabi namin na dapat meron talaga responsibilidad yung mga magulang pero yung isang realidad po kung ikukulong mo yung magulang, may iba pang mga bata, may iba pang anak. So anong mangyayari doon sa mga iba pang members ng family? So that's the reason why sana pumasok doon nga yung state, no, yung government to provide support services, no, at saka sa mga ganitong mga sitwasyon. Tapos yung sinasabi pa namin, minumungkahi namin, baka kailangan nating i-assess yung basic education right now. Natuturuan ba talaga yung mga bata, yung term ko po, mangilatis, yung discernment. Of course, alam nila nun tama, alam po nila yung mali, pero alam na ba nila yung implication of such act? Parang natitigil lang sa knowing what is right and wrong. Pero yung long-term implications, mukhang yun yung hindi na e-enhance, no? So sana, pag yun ituro dun sa basic education, the skills, no? Skills para kilatisin tong sitwasyon na to, napanood mo ito, tama ba ito? Or pag ginawa ko ito, sinabi ko ito, may maaapektuhan ba? So baka yun yung mga ilan, yung balikan yung yung basic education. Yung isa, sinasabi nila sa amin, turo kayo ng turo, yung karapatan. Yeah, pero at the same time, tinuturo rin namin or dapat ituro rin ano yung mga responsibilidad ninyo. Kung may karapatan kayo, ano yung mga responsibilidad ninyo. Baka yun yung mga missing links dun sa atin ngayon.
Right. On that note, no, kung may mga nagsasabi na if we can't hold the parents, yung mga magulang accountable, majority of the time of these children are spent in school. So shouldn't we be holding the school and the teachers accountable? Tama po ba yan? I mean, they're really a big part of child development.
Well, to me, what we have to develop are support mechanisms both within the school and even within communities. Yung problema kasi ngayon, mas naging malala dahil sa interaction nila with social media.
Opo.
I think that has really become a big stumbling block in terms of helping us develop our children's values. So that has to start at home, but the schools also have a big role to play, and the communities as well. So sana yun sa yung balak po namin dun sa Just Commission Bill ay tingnan din yon. Look at all the different factors that will help us develop a system where there is all the interests of everybody involved are really addressed. Kasi tama naman yung mga sinasabi ng mga biktima na dapat meron silang hustisya, and
Yes.
that is really an important component of justice. At the same time, I think kailangan din natin balansehin yan sa ano yung interest naman ng mga bata, mga kabataan natin that will help to bring them into the community as really with the feeling that they are part of and they belong.
Right,
Because
right.
without that sense of belonging, wala, hindi tayo uunlad.
Pero kung na-mention niyo po, yung social media plays a big factor. May mga ibang bansa na nag-implement ng ban sa social media para sa mga kabataan. What do you think about that po?
Yes, I think that we should look into that as deeply as possible. I think the question really is at what age, if ever, should there be a ban?
Yes.
Given that our country is the social media capital of the world, kailangan medyo malalim yung pag-aaral natin dyan. But I do think that that is one of the possible solutions to address the issues of disinformation for our children.
Pero if not a ban on all social media, there's some moving for specific bans for certain games. Roblox, I think, is one of them, and there are a few others. What are your thoughts on that? Should we be banning specific apps or specific platforms?
I think that responsibility should fall squarely on our social media platform owners initially.
Apo.
Kasi sila yung nakakaalam, and kuminsan nga it's their algorithms that promote fake news and disinformation. So I have been pushing for this for quite some time, that they have to take more responsibility because after all, it's through them that our children get exposed. The problem with singling out certain games or other
Platforms.
events on social media is you may come up with issues on freedom of speech. And I think we have to also be careful and make sure that that those boundaries aren't broken.
Buti na lang you brought up the freedom of speech aspect kasi if we just focused on banning mga platforms or ano, baka mamaya wala na tayo sa algorithm ng mga tao dito sa podcast natin. But yes, it's pros and cons, no? The access that we give children to these platforms, especially kung wala silang guidance, hindi sila nababantayan. So I want to go back to, of course, our issue on lowering the age of criminality. Parang may mga sinasabing ginagamit yung mga kabataan natin para sa mga sindikato. Is that true? Or,
Maalala ko, I think, parang 2 years after the passage of that law, kasi nga sinasabi po nila yan na ginagamit. So I think we requested the PNP to provide us statistics. Wala silang mabigay na, I mean, walang kaso or na nakarating sa kanila. So, yung andyan naman po 'yon nakalagay, isa sa mga provisions nung RA 9344, yung as amended, yung use of children. Pero parang ngayon until now wala pang reported case, no. So, ginagamit ba sila? Baka, pero kung case-based, I think wala pa kami na monitor. So parang siguro yun yung pwede rin tignan, no, dito sa implementation ng law. Ano yung mga safeguards, provisions na pwedeng na dapat properly implemented na hindi pa.
is there value in making delineation between syndicate-related crime involving children and just crimes committed by children outside of a syndicate. Would it make sense to kind of specify na mas mabigat ang parusa pag kasama ang mga kabataan dun sa sindikato versus just them committing a crime?
Well, that could be an added feature to our laws on criminal syndicates. That mas dagdag ang penalties sa mga nasa likod ng mga sindikato. Because the problem now is that people sometimes equate na ang dapat may kasalanan dyan yung mga bata. Pero actually, sa pagkaalam ko, and this is all anecdotal information, biktima din sila. Ginagamit din sila. And many of them, if we assume that these stories are true, do it out of sheer necessity. Wala na silang iba nakikitang paraan para, let's say, kumita o kumain. And that really indicates that the main responsibility should be on the syndicate owners, the people who run the syndicates.
Is there anything currently in the law that adds, I guess, pressure on these syndicates na kung mapatunayan na gumamit sila ng mga kabataan dun sa operations nila, mabigat talaga yung parusa para sa kanila or wala pa?
As far as I know, except for, wala, no? As far as I know, there doesn't seem to be.
Kung mag-file tayo. Kasi if we can prove na there was an involvement of a child in any syndicate operations tapos nahuli natin yung sindikato or yung head ng organization, dapat mas mabigat talaga yung
Yes,
parusa.
it should be an aggravating circumstance of penalty.
We should definitely look into that. Baka there's other countries. That's one thing that I think we need to also take a look at. Ano yung evidence? Have you seen effective child criminality laws in other countries, Kong?
There are some, and I think we can look to some of the developed countries.
Opo.
There's a very interesting concept that I think we should find a way to infuse more into our laws.
Yes.
We know about the punitive and rehabilitative purposes of penal law.
Of course.
But there is what they call restorative justice,
Restorative.
which really is an attempt to restore both the victims and the offender
Opo.
to the situation they were in prior to the crime having been committed. In other countries, for example, they actually allow, with controls, interaction between the victim and the offender, so
Really?
that both can find some kind of closure to what happened. And it has had some positive results because both sides realize that the person on the other side is also a human being. So let's say ako yung naging victim. There was somebody who stole from me or committed some other crime. But ang tingin ko sa kanya, syempre, kriminal yan, masamang tao. But if I get to know that person more, I get to understand what happened to him as a child, kung paano siya pinalaki, ano yung mga naging problema niya sa buhay niya, then it makes me more understanding of why he did what he did. And the same, I believe, happens to the offender. Na pag nakikita niya yung pinagnanakawan niya, halimbawa, ay tao rin, naghirap din yan, nagtrabaho yan, yung ninakaw mong pera, pinaghirapan niya yon, then that also helps them have a deeper understanding of what they're doing. So, if ever we do look into revisiting laws, especially, for example, laws affecting children, mas maganda kung mailagay natin yan more, we put more teeth into that.
Is there any specific country that has a good restorative policy, restorative justice policy?
In some aspects, for example, in some states in the US, they do have that. In fact, I was reading a very interesting book recently about how some of these ideas of restorative justice actually come from the American Indian communities.
Opo.
Kasi bago sila sinakop ng mga Amerikano, they had their own community-based system of justice. And the way they deal with children was very different from adult offenders. Kasi nga, community-based yung kanilang justice. So these are things that we could probably adopt here.
Well, you mentioned community, no? Mahalaga ang komunidad, lalo na sa development and preventing child criminality, no? Um, let's go back to the case of Tacloban. What could have been done better?
I think a lot, um, because if you talk about violence by children within campuses, then ang dami factors niyan. Number one, syempre, paano nila na-access yung baril? Paano sila natuto na humawak ng baril? Kasi it would appear that they had some familiarity with how to use a firearm. Paano sila nakapasok sa eskwelahan? Were there other measures that could have been taken so that this will not happen again? Tingin ko maraming pwedeng gawin. In fact, we also have filed a bill calling for an investigation into the Tacloban shooting because I think we have to take a very comprehensive approach to addressing that problem.
Is there any similarity between yung factors dun sa Tacloban incident? Dun din sa Cavite, diba there was a stabbing incident ata in Cavite? Were there any similarities between Tacloban and Cavite that led to this?
I'm not sure because I'm not too familiar with the Cavite incident, but I think that there are factors that cut across all different types of child violence. And we would also benefit a lot from hearing from the experts
Yes.
who really have studied this because any measures we must take have to be evidence-based.
Miss Bing as an expert.
Yeah.
Buti na lang.
Yung
we have you
restorative
here.
justice, actually, nasa RA 9344 na yan. At yung diversion program, is a form of restorative justice yun. Kasi kung titignan mo yun, yung talagang inimagine namin na diversion program na both the victim and the perpetrator ay kasama doon, including their parents and the community. So, yun yung nasa na siya, nasa RA 9344 na siya. So, ang isa sigurong lang doon nga yung pag-enhance ng skills ng both the barangay, the social workers, and the local council for the protection of children dun sa restorative justice sa crime diversion program. Baka malayo-layo pa yung lalakbayin nung principle or ng concept na to kasi nanggagaling tayo sa paningin na punitive yung criminal justice system natin. Pero I don't think hindi siya pwedeng mangyari. Ang Sweden, may mga countries, no, they're practicing that, tapos documented yung mga nila, yung may mga ombudsman for children, nag-work, no, parang Scotland, meron mga ganyan. So, may mga naman, pwede tayong pangopyahan, mga good practices. So, hindi siya imposible. Pero again, no, we have to parang so much work to be done, no. Pero siguro si Kong at saka yung mga iba pang naniniwala, no, hindi namin siya titigilan na na i-advocate, no, kasi pwedeng mangyari.
Yeah.
Tapos yung tanong tungkol dun sa yung similarities, yun na monitor namin in that week, parang 3 to 4 incidents, no, na ng ganito stabbing, na yung kanyang teacher, yung mga ganyan, no, talagang nangyayari sa mga bata sa Pilipinas, no. So parang hindi talaga siya alarming talaga, tas nakakalungkot. Pero kung titignan mo yung initial na na feedback sa amin, tignan mo yung psychosocial or psycho-emotional background ng mga bata na na-involved, may something in common. So, withdrawn, tapos yung sila, meron silang dinadaanan na hindi sociable yung mga bata. So, kailangan talaga tignan. Baka yun pa yun isang ipropose namin sa sa DepEd, no. Ano yung mga pwedeng indicators or yung parang halimbawa mechanisms, no, na pag nakita na ganito yung performance ng bata, tawagin na kagad yung yung parents or baka damihan po yung yung mga meeting ng PTAs. Parang talagang doon honest to goodness, kumustahan ito ang nangyayari sa inyong bata. Para doon pa lang may intervention na. Hindi yung saka na lang tayo magagawa ng something kung may nangyari ng na kaso or ano.
Pero Miss Bing, when we talk about yung crimes that have happened lately, yung sa Tacloban, etc., is it really true na dumadami or parang dahil sa Tacloban incident, mas napapansin natin yung mga crimes that are being committed by children?
Actually, kung pinag-usapan po namin yan sa mga interagency councils, kasi ang daming interagency
Opo.
councils sa children,
Ang dami
no?
talaga po.
So, right now, we're mga 9, uma-attend kami sa 9 na interagency councils, no? Ano ba yung dahilan nung yun isa siguro yung nakita namin, tumaas ba yung crime? Kasi na-analyze namin, nandun yung PNP, nandun yung mga DILG and lahat, no? Yun isa naming nakita, mas accessible ang reporting na kasi.
Opo.
Kaya parang anybody can take a picture or pwedeng i-record niya, tapos niya
Iba na
na,
na,
oo.
yeah.
Kesa kumpara noon na yung access sa social media. So, pero kung titignan mo nga, kahit titinitig, ito pa rin naman yung number ng mga CICL until today. At 5 years ago, bumaba pa nga po, di ba? Nung documented po yan. At in-attribute talaga nila dahil sa RA 9344. So, yun yung pong isa, mas madali nang mag-report, mas madali nang mag-document, mas marami ng mechanisms kung saan ka pwede. Punta ka sa barangay, pwede ka nang pumunta sa pulis, kumpara nung mga previous years. So, pangalawa, meron na rin mga pero kung titignan po kung namomonitor namin, yung pinakamataas pa rin na crime na nakukumit, it's crime against property. Hindi po siya against life. So, robbery, theft, well, may mga rape, kanyan po, no. Pero kung tinitignan ko nga yung statistics po, ganun pa rin. Mas malaki pa rin yung crimes against property and crimes kumpara doon sa mga Pero talagang nakakagulat nga rin na yung mga bata nananaksak, yung mga bata nambabaril, no. As in talagang, ang term ko po ay siya, parang symptoms siya ng mas malalim na problema ngayon sa ating society na dapat i-address.
Well, speaking of that, yung ugat talaga ng problema natin. Kung you mentioned earlier that economics has a lot to do with it. Yung mga children in conflict with the law, hindi sila papunta sa ganon kung sapat yung mga oportunidad nila, which is why you were saying dapat i-champion natin yung Magna Carta for out-of-school youth para ibalik natin sila sa community. But let's talk a little bit about the juvenile justice system. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we have a very effective juvenile justice system, and 1 being we have to fix this because it's very bad already. Where would you put us right now?
Well, first, if we speak about the law itself, I would give it a very high mark. Maganda yung legal framework na ginawa natin sa Republic Act 9344. Pagdating naman sa pag-implement sa batas, doon tayo bagsak. I would probably just give it a 2 or a 3. Ang dami sanang pwedeng improvements that would really make that law shine. And that's really the purpose of that law. Mabuti nga nabanggit ni Bing yung restorative aspect niyan. Because that's one aspect that I think the general public are not aware of. And that we can, if we could make this really infuse it with the resources it needs, I think it could be a showcase for our region in terms of how we treat our children.
Right. Actually, you pointed out something very important. When it comes to the laws, actually, the Philippines has some of the best laws across different sectors, whether it's our legal framework, whether it's for the environment, etc. We're very progressive in terms of our laws. But the implementation, that's where we always fail. And you were saying earlier na kulang tayo sa personnel, kulang sa training, kulang sa pondo. That's always the situation because we work a lot with at least even on our end with PDLs, with those in the justice system, and there's a lot of reform that needs to be done, and a lot that can be improved. Siguro one specific thing that if you could legislate that change in the justice system, what would it be?
Wow, there's so many.
But you had one, and it's sure na pag sinabi mo itong batas na ito or itong programa na ito sa justice system will be 100% implemented, what would it be?
I think it's the juvenile justice law. Sana, if we could only see it through and provide it with the budget and the resources that it needs. It's a problem in the sense that because much of the responsibility is left to the LGUs. Kailangan natin ma-sure na they're really doing their job, and it's not consistent across the board. So some local government units are doing a good job, while others really aren't doing much.
So we're gonna, as kind of a wrap up and to end on a high note, we're gonna do some quick fire questions. So basically, these are one word answers, guys. I know it's hard, but we really have to have one word answer. So we're gonna start first with Kong Chel. So are you ready?
Ready?
All right, let's go. This is your camera if you want to speak straight to the audience. Ready? So, criminal liability or accountability?
Accountability.
Prevention or punishment?
Prevention.
One word that describes a fair justice system.
Makatao.
Katao. Biggest misconception about juvenile offenders.
Na wala raw accountability ang mga juvenile offenders. Actually, meron.
Okay, parents or government? Who has the bigger responsibility? Tayo ba? Or sila?
Both. Pareho.
Pareho. One law you'd like every Filipino to understand.
RA 9344, the Juvenile Justice Act.
RA 9344. So guys, please do your research. We will definitely add that here. One reform you hope to see within the next few years, or sabihin na lang natin within the 20th Congress.
Improving our justice system.
Improving our justice system. Okay, we're gonna do the same set of questions for you, Miss Bing. We'll go back to the top. Ready? Criminal liability or accountability?
Accountability.
Prevention or punishment?
Prevention.
One word that describes a fair justice system.
Makakatarungan at makatao.
Okay. Biggest misconception about juvenile offenders?
Na wala silang accountability sa mga ginawa nila.
Okay. Parents or government? Who do you believe has the bigger role?
Ako, government.
Okay. One law that you would like everyone to understand?
RA 9344 as amended by RA 10630.
Okay, 10630, guys. Additional research. One reform you hope to see within the next few years. Nagda-notes na kami ni Kong Chel dito.
Ako yung full implementation of laws, doon nagkaka problema, or yun pa yung gap.
So in your opinion, it's not necessarily na kailangan tayo dagdagan ng mga batas.
Yeah. Except for the Magna Carta of Children. Pero tingin ko, kung may Magna Carta of Children, may kompleto na yung legal framework for our Filipino children.
Dan, is Dan here? Did we file Magna Carta for children?
Wala pa yung
Or
name
out
po.
of school youth ata eh. That's the one we both filed, Akbayan and also FPJ Panday Bayanihan. We both filed
Baka you
out of
want
school
to
youth.
reconsider or look, maybe you want to look into the proposed
Opo.
Magna Carta of Children.
Send us the research. We'll
Yeah.
definitely look into it.
We will do that.
All right. So wrapping up, I just want to get a final message from both of you. We'll start ladies first. Miss Bing, message for parents, for children. What would you like to say?
Siguro address ko muna yung mga magulang, no? At the end of the day nga po, no, malaki yung responsibilidad natin sa pagpapalaki ng ating mga anak, no? hindi ito nawawala at hindi siguro kahit sa pagtanda yata hindi mawawala ito 'no, mababawasan lang. Pero yung ngayon na more than ever 'no, kailangan natin talagang, bantayan. Ang call ho pala namin 'no, para pagdating sa social media, hindi total banning, regulation. So siguro dito yung malaki yung papel ng mga magulang 'no, i-regulate, bantayan nila kung ano yung mga ina-access na social media, mga platforms ng kanilang mga anak. Pero at the same time, we're also ano 'no, calling the government, especially the local government units 'no. Kailangan talaga rin yung ano, yung mga papel, na nasa mga batas ay kailangan natin i-implement 'no. Alam ko na ano, batay sa mga pag-uusap natin, lagi kasi kaming nakikipag-usap sa mga local chief executives
Opo.
'no. Ang dami-dami talagang batas na kailangan nilang implement. Kaya that's the reason why kailangan ng national government intervention. Kailangan talaga halimbawa ang Bahay Pag-asa po, ang mahal magpatakbo nito, kung parang millions ang kailangan mo taon-taon. At isa lang ito sa mga batas na ini-implement ng local government. So baka kailangan tignan ano yung pwedeng gawin ng national government para dito. So yun panghuli po na ano na panawagan 'no. Bigyan po natin ng pagkakataon yung mga bata. 'No, kailangan nilang pangalagaan natin 'no. Siguro yung isang ano dito address rin namin yung, educational system 'no or yung sa Department of Education, in particular 'no. Baka kailangan natin ano enhance yung mga, modules or yung mga curriculum pagdating doon sa pag-harness ng skills ng mga bata na magnilay, mangilatis at pumili kung ano yung tama at mali at saka yung pagtingin sa mga implikasyon nito. So, yun po yung aming panawagan. Ang pagpapalaki ngayon ng mga kabataang Pilipino ay hindi na lang naiiwan sa mga magulang. Ito ay responsibilidad ng buong pamayanan, ng buong sambayanan. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. Kong Shell, mensahe para sa mga magulang, and baka meron po kayong mensahe para sa mga kasama natin mababatas.
Thank you. Unang-una, maraming salamat, Kong Brian, sa pagkakataon na pag-usapan itong napakahalagang bagay na ito. Kailangan natin suportahan ang ating mga kabataan, lalo na yung mga batang Pilipino, dahil hindi lang naman sila ang pag-asa ng Pilipinas, kayo na mismo ang Pilipinas. At marami tayong kinakaharap din na krisis na umaapekto sa mga bata. Nandyan yung problema natin sa edukasyon. Nandito rin yung problema natin pagdating sa children in conflict with the law. Sana po buksan natin yung ating kaisipan at ang ating puso sa paghahanap ng pangmatagalang solusyon sa mga problemang ito. Kuminsan, marami tayong naiisip na mabilisan na mga solusyon, pero kung tutusin ay hindi naman niya talaga masusolusyonan yung buong problema. At pagdating halimbawa sa children in conflict with the law, although maraming nagsasabi na ang dapat gawin ay babaan ng age of criminal responsibility, sa tingin ko po, kung talagang yung hinahanap natin, yung lasting solution sa problema, ay patupad natin ng husto yung ating juvenile justice law at yung ibang mga batas na talagang nag-aalaga sa ating mga kabataan. Thank you.
Kong, before we end, I just want to ask, as an educator, baka there's one lesson from our discussion today you want everyone to remember?
Well, para sa akin as an educator, it's always important na hindi natin kakalimutan yung values, lalong-lalo na yung values ng mga anak natin, yung mga kabataan natin, dahil yun talaga yung magdadala sa kanila ng buong buhay.
Alright, so thank you again for being with us today. Kapag ang pinag-uusapan ay age of criminal liability, hindi lang ito tungkol sa pagpaparusa. Tungkol din ito sa kung paano natin mapoprotektahan ang mga bata, mabibigyan ng hustisya ang mga biktima, at mapapanatiling ligtas ang ating komunidad. Paano tayo makakabuo ng sistemang makatarungan at epektibo? Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood. Ako si Brian Po. Join the conversation in the comments At magkita-kita tayo sa susunod na episode ng Common Ground.